on, everybody? This is John Bain. I want to welcome you to the worst survival games on Steam. Hopefully, you guys are doing good today. I'm doing good myself. Don't want to forget to remind you all to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be here when stuff happens. Big shout outs to the patrons on Patreon and also the supporters on Twitch. Thank you guys so very much for letting the channel keep on going. Today, we're going to check out Valnir Rok Survival RPG. Valnir Rok is a multiplayer survival role-playing game in a Viking setting with quests by best-selling author Giles Christian. Explore huge open world, craft items, cook meals, build homes, and found clan cities. Raid other clans or place bounties, pray to the gods, and survive. As you can see, it's got great reviews on Steam. Really looking forward to checking it out. It is developed by Encurio and published by them and Rock Entertainment, I guess. I checked out the author on Amazon, and it looks like one of their books has got 4.5 stars on Amazon, so that's pretty good. Checking out the Steam page a little bit more, their last update was done in May, which is nice. It looks like they have server stability problems, so I guess that's good. The discussion currently on the main thread here looks like there's a very nice commentary going on. The community really likes each other, and it's an overall positive experience, and yeah, this should be nice. Quality. Anyway, back to it. It got released in September of 2017. It has been in early access for 4 years, almost, maybe 3.5. So let's just jump into it and check it out. On startup of the game, there is a box up here that tells us to link our accounts, our Valnir account with our Steam account for more access for things. We might not have access to all game features if we don't do this. Whatever, I guess. They should have API to verify that I'm on Steam or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to skip that. So let's check out the options first. Lots of options here at the beginning. So we have a language in general. That's it. Okay. Second tab has the standard issue graphic settings, which is great. Resolution, full screen, shadows, view distance. We put it up at high just to make sure we get that full quality experience here. Like shoreline, not necessarily sure, but we're going to click that and turn that on too. For the final tab, we have basic volume. There's not much needed to go crazy with volumes. This makes sense. After finishing up the options, we're greeted yet again with a link accounts option and the server browser. As you can see, the servers are very full and we'll be lucky to get on one. Decided to choose a Vinland experimental North American server to get started on, and it looks like we have room. After clicking join, we are greeted by this beautiful, beautiful screen of a character screen. It has the standard sliders on the left, which is good to see. Also, you can put in a name and a bio for our character. There's tabs on the top for body, head, and details. This is not bad. This is a good start. Let's check out the height. As you can see, our height is actually the full body size, not just the height of our character. It just scales up the entire body. Arm lengths, it has been acceptable. I think we need to go for something of top notch here that will truly express our Vikingness within our character. Okay, and then right there, and here we go. There, wait. Yeah, that's, wait, no. There, perfect. On entering the game, we're given the standard fare for survival games. We have a mini-map, chat box, statistics lower right, time of day in the upper right-hand corner. The controls were extremely fast, and I needed to get in because it was super janky. Mouse sensitivity is definitely a thing. Wanted to also check out the controls. It seems like controls are pretty standard, what we have available. Nothing too crazy. There is separate chats we can enter in and speak with, which is a nice little touch, nice touch. One thing I thought was interesting was that voice chat was caps lock key, so there's a voice chat with caps lock. All right. So I quickly adjusted the mouse settings and jumped back in the game. Controls still felt janky. Left click was an attack. It was a weird punch, a left-handed jab, I guess. Looking around, the mouse sensitivity still felt a little bit off, but it was doable. After rummaging around the shipwreck for a little bit, decided to go ahead and check out some of the other options. We have a status screen that gives us gods that we can gain favor or lose favor with that will give us blessings, apparently. We have conditions with hunger and thirst, which at least it gives us that information. So we see the icon, I assume. We know what it is. And a biography. Always enter in the best biography you could ever possibly put in your biography area. Abilities-wise, it looks like you gain points as you level and put them into different things. Right here, I accidentally clicked Carpenter, but apparently it was pronounced Carpenter T, I guess. Other abilities we have are Skinner, which is pretty obvious. We have Forger, which is using metal items, crafting metal items. That seems okay. Builder, which is builderizations, as you guys know. Then there's Goatee, which doesn't make much sense. If the other ones are standard type names, so why go to that? There are higher tiers of each skill that you can spend points into as you level up. You can also distribute points into the 3 different gods for health, stamina, and damage done, which is a nice touch. It's a nice touch. After the abilities, you have clans and messages, which I guess you can send messages to each other. There's a quest journal as well, and then a map. The map seems okay, but it doesn't make much sense to have this small map that you can't resize, but you can zoom in. I don't understand that well, but whatever. Running around, again, tried to pick up things. I could see this little thing where it said wood, and then it would disappear, and then wood, and there we go. You can press F to pick it up. This is extremely hard to actually get correct sometimes because the stone here, I didn't think I could pick the stone up, but it kept flashing at me. And then as you can see, very slightly, if you go to the right spot, you can pick it up. The problem persisted as I continued to explore around. I could pick up some of the wood, no problem, but some of the other objects, like more wood, and then also this chest was flashing, but I couldn't access it. As you can see, it flashes again, still can't get into it. What ended up fixing it for me was to scroll my mouse wheel all the way in, and then I actually was able to pick up everything. So that's definitely a bug. We have items inside the chest we can grab, obviously, which you can see there. Picking up more wood, great. While searching the shipwreck, I was greeted by this lovely undead by the name of Undead Invasion 1. They didn't have much to say, but so I decided to go ahead and just see if I could fight it or kill it or something, and obviously Undead Invasion 1's powers were too great for me, so I decided to continue on with my adventures. As many of you know, one of the staples of survival games is chopping down trees. So trying to chop down a tree and figure out how it works in this game definitely is meant to be a challenge for you to overcome and feel the progression of your character grow and grow as he's able to finally chop down trees. I decided to stare at the trees for a long time when finally a contextual menu finally came up that said the F to chop the tree, which put me in a stance, and I'm holding my axe in the most comfortable way possible. So apparently you go up to it and press F and then kind of hold your axe. After a minute, I figured out that you press F and then you hold down left click to chop the tree. Now, as you can tell, there's some amazing sound effects for when you chop trees. To the game's credit, the tree actually falls down and makes a nice sound effect when it does, which is nice. After chopping down the next tree on my target list, I decided to go ahead and check out the crafting stone in the game. When you go into your inventory, you have the list of the inventory on the left, you have your character screen in the center, and then you have crafting on the right, which is a nice setup. It's not too bad. You have a category drop-down menu, which lets you choose different categories. Apparently, you don't know recipes, so you have to bring over the mats to actually discover what you can craft with those mats. Now, you can't craft anything or discover anything unless you have all the mats. I was able to make a sharpened stick, and I tried to put it down on my quick slots, which let me put it there, and then I clicked it, and so after equipping 4 versions of the same sharpened stick on my hotbar and putting the rusty axe back on, decided to try my hand at chopping rocks, which a rusty axe can be used to gather stone and iron ore from. Again, the sound effects are amazing. So on top of gathering stone and wood, you can also gather fibrous plants, you can get mushrooms, there's different types of berry bushes and whatnot, a nice mixture of resources to gather. These are all 3D objects, but all the other plant life is actually just a 2D plane, I'm guessing for optimization purposes or whatnot, but it doesn't make as much sense if you're going to go that far with all these different gatherable resources not to have that also be 3D. Having gotten my fill of gathering resources, I decided it was time to get on the hunt. After equipping one of my many of the same sharpened sticks, I decided to hunt down the most dangerous of all wildlife, the goat. After being defeated by the goat and its goat family, I decided to go ahead and check out some more of the crafting since I'd gathered a good amount of mats. Again, the crafting is not that bad. I like the idea of discovering recipes. I got to give them props for that. It could be a little bit more friendly on finding out the resources, or at least giving you some sort of maybe a hint or something, especially at the beginning. Further on recipes, I can understand that you just need to progress to have that, but I still think I like the crafting system more than not liking it. I did manage to figure out how to craft thread, so I went ahead and crafted all my fibrous plants into thread. You have options to craft just one, craft max, or enter in a number on the left and craft as many as you want. Seems pretty legit, no problems with that. When crafting more than one, the timer that goes down the bottom there, the bar, it actually is the entire time it takes to craft it, which again is good. I don't have an issue with that. Damn goat is back again. I'm trying to record a video here. And there we go. The same goat kept respawning after it went out of render distance. And yeah, and you don't skin it or anything. It just drops loot, which is fine. You know, there's plenty of other good survival games out there that do that. So there's their thing. And there's the goat friend coming at me too. But again, yeah. But since I was victorious against one goat, I decided to go ahead and try and craft a campfire and see how the cooking goes in this game, at least on the very basic levels of it. The building seems rather standard issue. You put the item on your hotbar, you click it, there's a green highlight where it can go, you press left click to place it down, and then you can open up the menu. It tells you right there, drop your items in there, which includes what you're trying to cook, and also your fuel needs to go in there too. Now, they do have where you can hold down and split stacks, so you can bring back full stacks, half stacks, whatnot. So I'm glad that that's there. Click the button, it has it going. Timer's there on the right, which is not the same kind of timer as what you have when you craft your inventory, but at least you can see how long it will take to craft the food. While crafting my meat, or cooking it, if you will, I noticed there was a body of water next to my little campfire. You can gather thatch this way, and apparently that's used for building your houses or whatnot, I assume for roofing. You are able to refill your thirst meter by just going up to the edge and eating it, and you end up drinking and refilling your thirst meter. So that's a nice touch too. They don't make it too bad to get it. I figure the great experiences I had with fighting goats, I can move up to the next level of fighting boars. Now, I don't expect much when it's your first, mobs that you're fighting in any game, but it didn't have any sort of charge. It had nothing else. All it did was squeal, walk around, and then do a very, very basic attack. I'm sure there's better attacks from creatures later on. I'm most definite of that. With the hide I collected, I was able to actually craft up some leather, so I unlocked that recipe as well, so that's good. There's progression happening there. And another goat. It will be mine. That obviously was a goat I had encountered prior to then, and it still had half its health gone, so I was able to finish it off pretty easily. Since my rusty axe was out of durability, I decided to try to figure out how to make a stone pickaxe. What I did find out, as long as you have all the resources in your inventory, you can craft it even if you don't know it. You don't have to drag them over to the Discover side. You can craft it. Now, I did find out later that this does refresh the recipe. If you click off the recipe and back on, it'll show you that you know all the resources, but anyhow. I also went ahead and crafted a stone knife. Might as well craft all the things you can with the stuff you've got, maybe have better weapons. After crafting, I did reach another level and decided to go ahead and pick up Forger since, you know, metal is usually a good thing to have. So decided to go with that, you know, being able to make swords and whatnot. And again, it's not Forger, it's Forger T. Forger T. I also ended up crafting a bow to see how it would work with the goats, and I will show you the fruits of my labor. So the point that's used for your crosshairs are absolutely worthless when using ranged. Typically in a game that leaves up a dot or a crosshair in the center of your screen when using a ranged weapon will, you know, kind of constitute about where the arrow go. I didn't expect to go pinpoint accuracy, but I took out my frustration on the goats. Kind of. I decided to go continue my adventures. I passed by a house, and then I found this lake on the map, which, you know, is yellow this time, and decided to go ahead and try out the swimming. So you start off walking in, then you get a swimming animation, then past that point, you fall under the water. So, yeah, swimming, and then standing under the water. One good thing to note about this is that I did find marigolds under the water, which is their natural habitat out in the world, so it was good to see some quality representation there. I did try to gather some marigolds too close to the water and found out that the yellow water was poisonous and that I had drank multiple points of it while I was trying to E or F the flowers. So, death was pretty much imminent regardless of what I did. So the map pops up when you die, showing where you die with the skull. And if you try to zoom in while you look at it, it actually doesn't zoom the map in. It zooms in the icons of where you can respawn and where you died. When you choose to respawn, you respawn underneath the map, and then it pops you back on top of the terrain, which is great. I decided we need to make a break for it and get back to our body to get our stuff back and continue on with our adventures. I did, however, make a quick stop to check on Undead Invasion 1 to make sure they were doing all right and they didn't need any snacks or anything. Another thing to note is that everything did respawn back at the ship, so I was able to get a rusty axe again along with a bunch of other stuff. One thing I didn't realize until this point, no pun intended, was that when you have the pointed stick, you don't attack with it with a jab or a stab, you use a slash attack. Apparently, I've been using pointed sticks wrong all my entire life, so I'm glad we got that cleared out. Finally made it back to my body. The bag was still there. I was able to regain my loot, which is not a big deal at all. I decided that we'd go ahead and check out the house that was right here since, you know, hey. So doors open okay-ish. This looks like these are the same kind of building pieces you use when you build your own place. Loot itself, it says I'm stealing. There's nobody here. I don't know who I'm stealing from or if it does anything. But I just went ahead and just checked everything and got as much loot from here as possible. Continuing on with the adventures, I found this town, it looked like, and as I approached with my freshly crafted wooden club, I was attacked by not just one, but 2 wolves. Now, these had a little bit more going on with them, but yeah, you get a bleeding on you. Yeah, and then I used the healing potion I'd found, or crafted, I'm sorry. And anyway, yeah, death was inevitable apparently with these wolves. So I decided to spawn at a different location than where I had been, and chose the mountains. Now, on spawning here, I didn't spawn below the map and get pushed up, so that was a positive. But something did happen behind me as I was running away. Apparently, this place is like a shrine. There's monks' music. It didn't spawn in when I spawned in. It took a while to render in, and it was still rendering in as I was entering it. I did find an outhouse, though, and I was able to go in the outhouse and get stuck. After spending a minute to figure out the puzzle of the outhouse +5, I made my way up into the monks' monastery. It's a decent looking building. I mean, considering what the building is here, you can't interact with like chairs to sit down with them or anything like that. But there are NPCs. Except this NPC has nothing. He just stands there and coddles something. I don't know. Looking around, going up the stairs, different floors, I was able to actually find some stuff that helped me in my adventures. Though, again, it told me that I was stealing, but nothing happened. I'm wondering if it's the monks were passive, and if there was other kinds of NPCs, they would have attacked me by stealing, but I got a lot of stuff from this place. There are 4 rooms in it with multiple things you can loot that have a good amount of things for you. One of the things I did loot was a bag that actually gives you more carry weight, so that was a good find. After thanking the monks of singing but not speaking, I said my farewells and decided to continue west to find our bag, maybe new adventures, I don't know. Coming down the mountain, I did find out that you could lose health from the cold, so making clothes to keep you warm or staying by a fire are apparently a thing, which again, it's a survival game. That's pretty cool mechanics. As you can see as I'm going down the hill though, there's a lot of Z fighting with the snow appearing, disappearing in front of me. As I continued west, I did find these burial grounds that actually had some more loot inside, and that was pretty decent too. Amongst other things, I was able to get a leather backpack and a shield, which, you know, was pretty nice, and another rusty axe. I went ahead and equipped all the treasures that I found and found out that with the shield equipped, you can actually block in the game. It is semi-directional too. So I'm not sure what kind of attacks you're going to come across where you need to do that. Maybe an arrow attack or something like that, you know, dropping from the air. I did find another denizen of the lands, a bear, and it's like, well, we got a shield. We have plenty of health. Let's just go ahead and see how this goes. So the bear was not able to actually enter in through the door, so I could just keep using going in and out of the door, in and out of the door. I did find out that I could make bandages, which apparently stops the bleeding and also heals you back over time, which is nice. After waiting for my healing to happen, I decided to go ahead and engage back with our mortal enemy, the bear, on the other side of the door, and it was waiting for me. It was cool to actually have to use strategy this time and my surroundings to help me win. The shield did help, and the loot was pretty much the same as killing goats or boars or whatever else. I finally made it back to my bag and dispatched the wolf rather quickly. Again, it still had the hit points lost from when I fought it earlier, which I honestly, that's kind of cool because you've already done damage to it. It doesn't have a way to heal, and the whole server remembers that wolf being hurt. Instead of going into the big town, I saw this other building to the side that had NPCs walking outside. First NPC we met was Elven Guard 2. They had a beard, no pointy ears, really couldn't tell if it was a lie or not. They are short, but our character is so tall that everybody looks short. I'm not really sure. Maybe that's just their name is Elven, you know, Mr. Elven. Also, we met Priest 1. Priest 1 seemed rather suspicious, if you ask me. This place did have a job board, but I could not do anything with it because it was not a feature yet in the game, so it's there to kind of tell you something's coming. I don't know how long it's been in the game for, but who knows. You can't actually enter the buildings here. Other NPCs include Human Girl 1. And then also Innkeeper 2. So I'm not sure where Innkeeper 1 is. Now, when I checked out this Innkeeper, he had a lot of stuff. And I'm assuming that previous players on this server just got stuff and sold it to them to make some money real quick. And I assume that's why he had thousands of food and a whole bunch of horns and water skins. I don't know. I decided to go ahead and try out fighting Elvengard 1 to see how to go. And, you know, because there really wasn't much else to do anyway. And one hit actually did pretty good, but then he didn't pull out a weapon. But his punches were really, really strong. Prior to spawning here again, I tried out a couple of the other respawn points. They all basically felt the same-ish. There was one that had a longhouse in it that really didn't have much but wolves around it. So I decided for my next goal with this would be to start trying out the building. We hadn't done that yet. I respawned at the lovely Monk's Retreat of Coldness without speaking and retraced my steps to gather everything here, and then also at that grave to be able to get a shield and a sword or a rusty axe just to prep myself up better. With the mission clear in mind, I gathered a lot of mats on the way to the prime location. I chopped down many trees, gathered many stones, and got many ability points. I unlocked the Builder and also Skinner just to see what the rest of the options are available to our character progression. I unlocked the Furnace and crafted one just to smelt down some ore. Maybe we're going to need it for building or not. Maybe some better weapons. We'll see. You place it the same way as you place a campfire. Once you place it down, it has the same menu as the campfire. You can put in what you want to smelt and also the fuel you need to smelt it with. Pretty straightforward. Put it in there, click the button, go. You've got ingots. After verifying that this worked, I decided that this was not the place who wanted to build a base, so there's no reason to have this here. So I went ahead and took the iron, took back my fuel, and decided to break down the furnace and find the perfect location. Just over the next hill, there was a small lake there. It wasn't yellow, so obviously it was safe to drink from. There was boars around, there were stag around, and that was it. I didn't see any predators, and there was a few trees and rocks. Like, okay, this might take a minute to gather for it, but it seemed like a decent location. I also wanted to verify that the water was indeed real, and after drinking some and swimming in, I was able to verify it was real, and there were marigolds growing underneath it, along with plenty of clay deposits. The first thing I decided to craft once claiming this location was a tent. I felt like that was a great way to, hey, here we are. Maybe it might be a respawn point. Maybe it'll do something. I don't know. And there was no collider for it. There was nothing there. You just put the tent down and you have a tent. Undiscouraged, I decided to continue on with our crafting fest and decided upon a bed. Maybe this would let me respawn here. I don't know that either, but we got the mats together, ended up figuring it out and crafting it and placing it as well. While on my travels and adventures, I did learn one thing about the world, is that it doesn't matter what tool you have. As long as you have a tool, you can chop down a tree, break down a rock, whatever it is. Pickaxe can be used on trees, axes can be used on rocks. It does not matter. As long as you have the mental fortitude, you can use it. And you can even use pickaxes to slay boar. After several minutes of trying to gather resources and figure out how to craft it, I finally made a workbench. I found a very sturdy place it. Inside of it, it has the same type of menu system. It will not show recipes that you can craft until you put some form of resource in there that one of the crafted items can use. And then it fills out the right-hand side. After loading in all the resources I felt like doing, dug through there, found out you can make several different things, and I guess we're going to make our house out of wood. Don't really understand the discover option here because it told me the planks were it. It was there already listed in it. It just was locked, but it really wasn't because you could just click craft. Now, with the respawning of resources and my worries about having to go far and wide to get more resources were unfounded, because along with the elk that kept respawning next to me, the trees, the rocks, and everything respawned extremely fast. By the time I finished chopping down 3 trees, they respawned already. After spending a few minutes to get more wood, I crafted up a couple more foundations, and for some reason the foundation wanted to snap to the side of the mountain, I guess with a tent or something. But after placing them where I wanted them, it actually looks pretty decent. I think the models look okay. They're kind of small, but it looks pretty decent. I figured out we're going to need a lot more planks to actually build something here. And one thing I did find too is that I think we made a friend with that elk, because he just kept coming back and saying hello and hello and hello. So after the deer respawning and running around probably about 12 times and gathering wood, I decided to go ahead and craft up a bunch of building pieces, at least one of each, discover it, maybe get some levels out of it, I don't know. And it became nighttime. And nighttime, when it just starts for the first 10 minutes, is very night. The torch I crafted, I thought was going to brighten up the area a little bit better than it did, but once I placed it on a wall, it really did absolutely nothing other than just give away your position, in my opinion. Also, the radio menu, if you don't choose one of those options, you can't close it any other way. It will stay on your screen, and you cannot use your mouse. By this point, I had spent close on about 3 hours in the game, just chopping trees, respawning elk again. Nighttime passed, it was daytime, and I had enough building pieces generally to build something. So what I'm going to do is just speed it up and let you guys see it's standard kind of building in the game, but put this much work into it. You guys check it out and deal with it like I... As you can see, there's nothing really wrong with the building. It looks pretty good. Some of the pieces feel a little small, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Also, the gathering of the mats could be, the requirements could be less, and then the stuff respawns a little slower, but hey, it is what it is. By this point, I was about done with the game, and I was like, you know, we've got to finish off with one final adventure. So I decided to go ahead and craft a better sword, get it set up, and head into some final true adventure of combat to finish this out. I made my way back to the original town I had found, got my wounds completely healed, and decided to jump in the fray with some other Vikings. So with my final adventure fulfilled, and actually respawning back in my house, I decided there was only one way to finish this episode off, was to take a lovely swim in the lake of where we have claimed and die peacefully. So I'm going to end the video here. I appreciate you guys taking time to watch it. Valnir Rok, you guys see how good or not good this game is. It's been in development for a long time. It's really not that good. I'm sure there's people that love this game. I don't really know why. There's other better versions of Viking games out there now. Big shout outs to the patrons on Patreon and the supporters on Twitch. Thank you all for letting the channel to continue on. It really means a lot to me. And let me know what you think about the game, and if you have any suggestions for any other survival games we should check out for the series. But as always, thank you all so very much, and y'all have a good day.